Here's how you stay safe from being manipulated in relationships. This will work against narcissists, against love bombing, against gaslighting, against all types of abuse. Here's what you do in order to stay safe. And no, you don't want to say, oh, I already gave up on all relationships. That doesn't keep you safe. You don't want to say, I just don't trust anyone. I'm not going to trust anyone. That's not going to keep you safe. People who do that isolate themselves. What do predators look for? They look for someone who's isolated, someone who's vulnerable. That is not helping you. So please pay attention. Higher wisdom. Greatest teacher, Jesus, he says this: a farmer goes to sleep at night. He plants his crops. His enemy comes while he's sleeping and plants seeds amongst his crops that end up looking the same as they grow as seedlings. They end up looking the same as the good crops. So you have these two types of crops that are growing: the weeds and we'll say the wheat, the actual crop that the farmer wants. How do you tell the difference? Will the attendant say to the farmer, hey, should we chop all of them down and start over? Should we just burn the fields? The farmer says, no. We're going to give it time. We're going to wait, because when we give it time, it's going to allow these plants to grow, both the wheat and the weeds, and then we will be able to tell the difference once they're sprouted, because the wheat will obviously produce wheat and the weeds will just be ugly, thorny leaves, useless. Then once we see what the bad ones are, we can cut them off, throw them out, burn them in the fire. How does this work for relationships? Well, we have a mix of good and bad, men, women, whatever it is you're trying to date. They're all mixed in. The bad ones don't say, hi, how you doing? I'm a bad guy, right? They lie, they gaslight. Some of them are covert narcissists. They are psychopaths. So they put on a face that makes it seem like they're going to be a good guy, and then it turns out they're actually bad. So how do you keep yourself safe? Well, I've just given up on relationships. Stop, that doesn't work. Isolate yourself, make yourself more vulnerable as a target to the bad guys. You're making it easy for them. Here's how you actually keep yourself safe in these relationships. Give it time. You need to allow it to cook. Let them grow and show exactly what they are. I'm going to show you an example of how this works and how this will actually keep you safe from manipulation, gaslighting, and abuse, and all of that. Yes, boundaries are strong enough to do that, but in order for us to see what someone is, we do gotta remember, we gotta give it a little time. So let's take a manipulation. We'll use I love you, right? Because love bombing, right? How do we keep ourselves safe? Well, some of the very things that could be good, like giving gifts and all the things that are love bombing, are also the things that narcissists are using to manipulate you. But it's also the thing that the good guys are using to be themselves. So can you just say, whenever someone love bombs me, I know, and then I go away? No, because the same actions are used by both the good guys and the bad guys. So how do you know who's who? Let them cook. You got to give it time. So they say, I love you. You say, okay, I guess we'll see, won't we? And instead of just pouring your heart into this relationship and investing in this guy and trusting everything, or going the other extreme and trusting nothing, we're going to stay right in the middle. We're going to stay right in the cut, and we're just going to give it time. And what happens? He does a nice, beneficial, loving action, and then he does another nice, beneficial, loving action, and then he does another nice, beneficial, loving action, and then he says some nice, beneficial, loving words, and then he does some other nice, beneficial, loving things, and he gets you some other nice, beneficial, loving things, and then one day, boom, he does something out of alignment. Did you catch that? It's starting out the same for both the good guys and the bad guys. They're going to do really good things, good things, good things, good things. Each one of these boxes is a good, beneficial time that they said something or did something that aligned with what they told you, is that they loved you, right? And then one day they do something that's out of alignment in your perception. So now what do? Well, if you're thinking, is this where our boundaries come in? Yes. when someone does something out of alignment in your perception with what is loving or love, beneficial, good actions. In other words, stuff you like, they do one thing you don't like, then the correct action to take is to assert yourself. To assert means to tell the truth. To tell the truth in this situation is to call them out on the perceived incongruence. Hey, you, whatever it is, it can be something small. You made a joke that I didn't like. You made a comment that I didn't like. You said that you loved me, but then you did an action that I didn't like. I didn't like the way you treated another person that I found out about or that I saw. I didn't like the way you treated me. Whatever it is, you're asserting or telling the truth as a reaction. This is you going into the zone of asserting a boundary. What is a boundary? A boundary is a rule or a limitation that you create. So you call them out and then you let them know your rule or limitation. Don't do that again. Or I don't like that. Or if you want to be with me, I need this from you. You're giving them an actual rule, limitation that you've designed, and you have the authority to decide what their actions can be in the context of this relationship if they want access to you. Your authority is based on you having the ability to remove access. Asserting a boundary is telling the truth, letting them know, this is where we stand. This is what I need from you. Talk, open your mouth, assert the boundary, have the uncomfortable conversation, let them know. No need to yell, say it calmly. Then, enforcing a boundary is different than asserting a boundary, because asserting is talking. Enforcing is walking. When you enforce a boundary, you remove access to yourself and your resources. What does that mean? Everything you bring to the table. Your time, your talent, your beauty, your body, your gifts, your affirmation, your attention, your personal space, your energy, and the list goes on, including your material goods. That is all of your resources that you are giving someone access to in a relationship. When he was doing good, you didn't mind giving access. When he does something out of alignment, you have two choices. What were the two choices you can do? You can either assert your boundary, or you can enforce the boundary and just skip to removing access. You have the right at any time to remove access, at any time. However, it would be loving to give someone a chance by asserting your boundary. This also gives you the opportunity to observe, are they the wheat or the weeds? Are they the good or the bad? By how they respond to your boundaries. Because boundaries protect you because they show who the person really is. You see, this takes a lot of energy for a person who's faking. The psychopaths, the covert narcissists cannot keep this up forever, all this good, loving action. So they are eventually going to do something out of alignment. They are doing this because they need to ease you into starting to accept who they really are, which is a lot more of this stuff. And they're rarely going to do this stuff down the line. When you assert your boundaries, you now make it hard for them to keep being who they are. So the bad guys don't have a lot of choices. Here's what they will always do. They will be defensive. They will get angry. They will leave you. They will abandon you. They will smear you. They will just do it again and ignore your boundary. Again, bad guys will be angry, defensive. They leave and abandon you. They smear you or they do it again. So how do we know who the bad ones are? Good thing we gave it time. We just waited for the incongruence, and it will come. And then you assert your boundary, and then they respond like this, and this is how you know who they are. What do you do at this point? Cut, 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 chop, 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 chop. Remove access. I know who you are now. I see how you respond when I assert a boundary. You cannot make a relationship work with a person that you can't talk to about your boundaries. It's done. It's very simple. It is not more complicated than that. You try to make it more complicated with your traumatized mental gymnastics and cognitive distortions and dissonance. Why? I'm a really good judge of character. I can read people very well. I can see their intentions. I can read their mind. No, you can't. That's foolishness. You're not a good judge of character. Your intuition is not going to save you in everyday situations. Your intuition is there for emergencies. This is what protects you. You need relationship skills, boundaries, assertiveness. You need to speak up, tell the truth, see how they respond, and judge not by the intentions, because you can't see the intentions. You judge by the actions. The actions of a person show you what they are. God gave you eyes and ears, not telepathy. I think I can read what he really means. That's how you're getting yourself in trouble with your magical thinking. Because you go, he didn't mean it. He's really been going through a lot lately. I think he just had a really bad day. I think I should excuse it this time because I'm afraid of what he might do. I'm afraid that he's going to leave me. If they leave you, then that shows what they are. Bad. Not good. You cannot have a relationship with a person that leaves when you assert a boundary. It's pretty simple. So that's the best thing they could have done because they saved you the hassle of having to send the breakup text. It's already done. They left. Great. Now I know that's how they respond when there's something important to talk about. Therefore, I could have never really had a relationship with them. They're never going to be a good husband. They're not going to make a good wife. They can't handle real life. Because this is real. Assertiveness is about telling the truth. It's the real thing. When you start speaking up about how you feel, that's the real deal. What about the good guys? Well, the good guys are going along singing a song, doing everything that really is coming natural to them, and then one day, they have incongruence as well. At least what you perceive as incongruence. Then how do we know if they're good or they're bad? Do your job. Open your mouth and assert your boundaries. Practice the skill. Because it will show who they are by how they respond. A good person respects your boundaries. You will sense that they respect you and they respect what you're saying. They might have a helpful, healthy discussion with you. They will understand you. They will fix the issue. They will make an adjustment. And you'll be glad you didn't just hurry up and run away from them, and that you took a moment to assert the boundary, okay? Because good people also do things that you may perceive as incongruent, but they adjust and they get back on track. Because they could do this all day, because this is who they are. They can do this all day long. But there will be times where they're going to say something that was a joke that you didn't like, a comment that you didn't like, treat someone in a way you didn't like, treat you in a way you didn't like. And so you got to assert yourself and let them know, hey, I didn't like that. Plain simple, I would prefer as we move forward, you don't do that anymore. And you know what a good person that you can work with, someone you can have a relationship with is going to do? They're going to say things like, oh, wow, I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. Thank you for sharing with me your feelings. Is there anything else? They might engage in a healthy discussion and explain to you where they're coming from. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. When I said this or did that, I meant it this way. But I apologize that it made you feel that way. And I'm willing to make an adjustment. And you'll be glad because sometimes you'll realize that your perception is a little bit off. And even worse, when you're in the traumatized mindset, you keep diverting back to mind reading and fortune telling and all your magical powers that you don't have. And you go, oh, there is an incongruence. I know he's a bad guy. Because why? You can read character all of a sudden? Stop it. This is what keeps you safe. Asserting boundaries protects you. there's two main ways that someone will respond to a boundary. In a bad, unhealthy way, in a good, healthy way. Good, healthy people, you keep them around. And what do you do after this? You re-give vulnerability again. You re-give them your trust, even though they made a mistake, even though they were incongruent. Once you've talked it out, you've made clear where your boundaries are, they agree. Be vulnerable again. Okay, I'm going to give you another chance. Give it time. When you see a pattern of good behavior with someone, you see a pattern of loving actions from someone, you see a pattern of them showing up in a way that's healthy, that's someone you can work with, even though they're going to have imperfections at times. But when you see a pattern of this, and even after you express it to them, they go back and they do it again, because I know some of you, what if they lie? What if they tell you they're not going to do it again, and they get you and they understand you, but they're going to do it again? Because you're not thinking, I'll help you. Assert your boundaries. If someone shows a pattern of disrespecting your boundaries, at any time you can remove access. Once you remove access, you're done. Are you going to be abused? No, because you removed your access. Stop talking to these people. You're not going to be abused. You're not going to be manipulated. You're not going to be maligned any further. Nobody's going to gaslight you. You're going to be outside the relationship. As soon as you see the incongruence. Does everything make sense on how this works? Good. So, let's stop being hasty and dumping the good with the bad. At the same time, let's not just go all in because someone had some good actions and we had to just trust it. No. Let it cook. Let it simmer. Over time, you'll start to see a pattern emerge, and when there's an incongruence, assert your boundaries. It will show who the person is. Let me know if you have questions in the comments, and enroll in Healing School at healingcourse.org to learn more.